pressure, but I just felt like I wanted to go get a scholarship because I really, really, really wanted my mom not to worry about it, or my dad at the time not to worry about it. And when my dad died, I knew for a fact it was either I go get a scholarship or I go to community college and I pay for it myself.
So like underdog, like your story needs to be heard. Like this whole thing is about celebrating underdogs and just telling their story.
Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated, yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated, we the ones, yeah, we the ones, yeah, we the ones, we the ones, yeah.
All right, so like for me, man, like you are like, the things that you've been through, and especially at such a young age, you are on my Mount Rushmore of underdogs.
I appreciate that.
You know,
That means a lot.
yeah,
Sure.
no, I mean it. Your father, your birth father was a drug addict, and he abandoned you, like you said. But then your mom, did she remarry?
Yeah, my mom got remarried. I got three little sisters. One of them severely autistic.
Yep.
Severely. So that was always hard. My middle sister, I'm not gonna put her business out there, but she's been through a lot.
Been through a lot. Fair
just
enough.
put it in perspective. So she was a little troubled child, and then my stepdad passed away when I was 16, randomly. Just kind of hit us out of nowhere.
Now your stepdad was like your dad. He was like the.
To an extent, I wouldn't say he was like my dad, but he taught me everything that a dad should teach,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We never had a connection like that. I was a sporty guy. He liked hunting, and nothing wrong with that. And, we just didn't relate on a lot of levels. You would think about dads as like rebounding for me. I never got rebounded for.
Well, my dad was a college basketball coach, and he never rebounded for me.
I guess it
Yeah.
doesn't. There's things like that
For
I
sure.
wish. I used to go to the rec center and see other dads, and I
Yeah.
would just be like, dang, I wish.
Yeah.
But then again, he worked really hard. He taught me what work ethic was, how to take care of a family. He treated my mom really well.
Right.
I'm not trying to talk bad about him, but as far as like that relationship that you have with your dad, or you would think in your mind, you would imagine, I never really had that from him, because he wasn't my dad. We weren't blood, and I think we butted heads because of that. He had to learn to love me, and that was always hard to hear from me. My mom always used to tell me that he's learning to love you. He's trying, and it's like, am I not lovable or something?
Yeah.
Like, why does he have to learn? Like, I don't get that. And he been through a lot too. He grew up in foster care. He never had a dad either. So like, it's hard to do something when you don't have a blueprint. If that makes sense. It's like trying to build Legos with no instructions.
The one thing I will say, I mean, like when I hear that, I mean, like a lot of people wouldn't care enough to learn to love you, because to
that's
learn to
facts.
love you, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm in, Spanish class, I got to learn to make that test. If it's not important to me, I just flunk the test.
Yep, that's
So,
true.
I think that like as,
That's a good perspective.
you're
on it.
comforted in just the fact that like, hey, like I said, bro, like my dad is here and he's active and my dad don't love me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and not to say, that, my daddy issues are different than yours, but, just saying like, man, I think that, take that away, that he did put that effort.
he
But
definitely-
nonetheless, he was a father figure in your life and he abruptly died, right? And were you in the middle of the season or?
We had just lost in the state championship game. Probably a week prior. He was at the game too.
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy how it all happened. There's a lot of things that went into it, like, we fought the night or the morning he died. I was seeing a girl that he didn't want me to see. We got into this big argument, and then he left to go to work and never talked to him again. It was kind of, that sudden trauma is really, really, at that age, is really hard to deal with, especially I had just started playing for Chauncey Billups Elite, and I was super excited for it. Like, I was pumped because it was, a great opportunity for me. I felt like I was finally getting recognized. Like, I had an all-state season in 4A basketball, and, I was just in that hit, and it kind of, like, ruined it, in a sense, where that whole summer was just a survival summer for me, not only me, but my family, too. And, luckily I had basketball. It was my crutch. It was my, I leaned on it a lot. The gym saved my life. I always say that.
Tell me, like, what do you mean by that?
I used to spend hours and hours and hours in the gym because I always wanted to play college basketball. Growing up, I knew my mom wouldn't be able to afford it, and my dad, my stepdad, just because, my sister, it costs a lot of money to take care of an autistic person and you're trying to find her help. You're not just letting her be autistic. You're trying to fix her. And that's costly. So I always just had a lot, not pressure, but I just felt like I wanted to go get a scholarship because I really, really, really wanted my mom not to worry about it, or my dad at the time not to worry about it. And when my dad died, I knew for a fact it was either I go get a scholarship or I go to community college and I pay for it myself. So instead of falling into, drugs and alcohol, I fell into...
Tell me, like, what do you mean by that?
I used to spend hours and hours and hours in the gym because I always wanted to play college basketball. Growing up, I knew my mom wouldn't be able to afford it, and my dad, my stepdad, just because, my sister, it costs a lot of money to take care of an autistic person and you're trying to find her help. You're not just letting her be autistic. You're trying to fix her. And that's costly. So I always just had a lot, not pressure, but I just felt like I wanted to go get a scholarship because I really, really, really wanted my mom not to worry about it, or my dad at the time not to worry about it. And when my dad died, I knew for a fact it was either I go get a scholarship or I go to community college and I pay for it myself. So instead of falling into, drugs and alcohol, I fell into the gym.
So that's how it saved your life.
And I think, at that time, I had a lot of friends at my school and on my team that were falling into drugs and alcohol, and I very, very, very easily could have went in that direction because they were inviting me and they were telling me, come on. Even when I went, it never intrigued me because in the back of my head, I wanted, one, to make my dad proud, but two, to bring that relief to my mom. I didn't want her to feel like she had to go pay for me to go to school. So I used to be in that 24-hour we used to train at off of, Dag Clarkin University. I used to be in there until 2, 3 a.m. because I struggled to sleep. I had severe anxiety after that in high school, like real bad, where I just couldn't fall asleep. So luckily I had my license, and I would just, if I couldn't sleep, I'd go to the gym at like 11:30 p.m. and be there till 3 a.m. and then wake up in the morning and go to school. But I'm grateful for that because I don't think I would have made it if I didn't have that. It was actually a little drive, but I was in the gym a lot. I spent a lot of hours in that gym, and I tell kids all the time, like, I used to go in that gym and really, like, I walk out there drenched, when I came out the gym because I was going game speed because it was like a mentality for me. Like, I wanted to wear myself out. I wanted to be so tired that I couldn't feel the pain, if that makes sense. So I some days I'd be in there till 4 a.m. because I wasn't tired yet. And, school took a hit for me for sure. I was falling asleep in class and stuff, but it was something that really helped me. And, I think me going game speed and going through those progressions by myself really allowed me to, when I got to school and I redshirted my freshman year, like, I was in the gym the same way. And, the pain was I was able to handle it a little bit better. So now when I'm going through these progressions, I knew how to go game speed because I was trying to tire myself out 2 years ago to get rid of something that I really had no control over, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and just like, I just remember being heartbroken during that time. You know, just because you know, like this kid that I care about and love is going through that, and man, that was tough.
It was a blessing though, because one, I got really close to you during that time, and two, there were there was lots of people that, you know, came to Christ because of it. There's a lot of people that know God now because of that situation. I think me and my mom's bond now is way stronger than it's ever been. And, you know, I think it was a blessing and a curse, and I think there's always good with the bad, but there was a big, and I try and see that now, but at the time I couldn't see that, but there was so many people that hated him came to the hospital, and like, it really showed me that you can have a large impact on people by just being a good person. And you know, I always see that as a blessing more than a curse. Like, yeah, he's not here with me now, but I mean, there's a lot of people that will probably be in heaven now because of that death, and that's kind of crazy to me. You know, I don't know if we'd have the same relationship if you know, my dad didn't die.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, absolutely. I just felt like, man, and I'm like, man, I just think like, man, like I got a kid, and I was telling you that passed away. Well, no, I take that back. 2 kids, 2 men that I've coached passed away. One was 30, one was 27, and I just remember talking to them about their sons. And you know Mikey, you used to work out with Mikey.
It's my dog.
Mikey turned into an amazing dad and father. And Malachi is his son's name. Malachi used to say, I can't wait for him to go work out with Uncle Nick and all this and that. And just, you know, like, it's just, you know, when you see a kid whose father is taken away, you know, I just think it's up to the people in the community. They can never fill that void, but we at least got to try. And I definitely wanted to do that for you, and grateful. Let me ask you this, because, you know, one, I've got, like I said, you know, little Chris. Chris Romero is his name that passed away, the other guy, master barber. I'm training his son now, and so that's been fun. But what is it like? You probably didn't know what you needed in that time. Like, you know, what is it? You know, if we have somebody, like if I'm coaching a kid and he loses his dad as a teenager, adolescent, whatever, what is it that you needed that maybe you couldn't communicate that we could give somebody in that space that you were at? What can your friends and people that support you, what can they do for you in that space?
Support. What happened with me was, you know, a lot of people, they were there for a couple months, and then slowly but surely,
For sure.
start trickling away. And not understanding that the pain for me doesn't go nowhere. It actually gets worse throughout the years. Like, I think I had more trouble my freshman year at college with the death than when it actually happened. Because when it actually happens, you're just in shock. Like, you're like it's like a shock for a year almost. So that's how I felt, at least, where I was like, this is so weird. Like, it's not normal. Like, but it starts to get normal. But then, you know, you start, as a kid, you don't understand how to process that stuff. You don't understand how to internalize it and be positive about it. It's hard. And I think support is huge, and understanding that they don't need the support for 2 months. They need support for years and years to come. And, you know, like for me, like I had a lot of my dad's best friends. They said they were his best friends. I never heard from. And you're supposed to be like, I don't know, this is just how I feel, but like, you know, one of my best friends has a son, and he's about a year and a half old or something like that. And if he were to pass away, like, I would take it like,
step up.
Yeah, that's my son now. Like, and I feel like if I call you my brother, I'm taking care of your family as well, if it comes down to it. And I think that's something that, you know, kids that lose their dad or lose family members and things like that, they need those people to check up on them, because it feels really good when somebody reaches out to you and says, hey bro, I know you're struggling and I want to take you out to dinner, and let's go talk about it. Or maybe you don't talk about it. Maybe you just go out and have a good time.
Yeah.
And bring some hope and some life into them. Like, for example, when you went and played you were hooping with him. You posted on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah,
like that's
I get emotional.
Like, yeah.
Just like I go back and look at the video.
You see his smile.
See that smile, yeah, for
it's
sure.
huge. And kids, they need that when that happens, and that's something that I never got, and that's why I leaned on the gym, big time. But you know, I encourage people that have that voice and have that platform with these kids and kids like that to really take advantage of just being there and being there for a long time, understanding that it takes a long time to grieve and to understand that pain and be able to channel it and not let it take you down the wrong path, if that makes sense. So
thanks for sharing that too, man. Thanks for opening up, being tough. Would you say that like your pain and what you've been through, is that where your passion comes from as a trainer? 100%. And is that your why? And also, along with that, is it also like therapy and healing for you? And if so, how?
100%. So I actually got into training because I was trying to go play overseas. So I just picked up a little training gig through somebody that works out here. And this kid, so on Mondays, I was just running these little skills clinics for him. So there's usually a lot of kids there on Mondays. One Monday, for some odd reason, one kid showed up. When that kid showed up, he just looked down. He was usually happy, go lucky. He's always joking with me. So I just, we didn't even work out that day. I just sat him down, started talking to him. And, he started asking me, like, he started telling me about how his mom abandoned him and he hadn't talked to his mom in 2 years. And, the kid was a 6th grader. So, I was like, dang, that's so weird because, like, I can relate. And so I started talking to him, trying to pick him up, and he started crying to me. And, I'm getting emotional right now thinking about it. But, like, that stuff, like, excuse me,
no, you good.
Hits hard because it's like, kids like that need us.
Yeah, for sure.
Another thing, literally, like, probably like 3 months later, kid I trained was 16 years old. His dad died in his sleep. Same age as me.
Yeah.
And that stuff, I mean, just like touched my heart, and it made me want to be able to be there for kids like that through basketball. Like, and it's crazy how that happens. But even recently, 2 months ago, this kid I've been training since he's 12 years old. He's 16 now. No, he's 13, I think, at the time. He's 16 now. Just lost his dad. Almost the same thing I lost him by. He was out, it was a little different, but his body just died on him. And, I went and worked that kid out the other day, and, he's asking me questions like, how'd your dad die, if you don't mind me asking? What did you do to deal with it? And it's cool because, like, you think you have to do all this stuff by yourself. And I told him, like, you got to lean on your people. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be calling me when you feel down and not going and hanging out with your friends, doing something that ain't beneficial to your life. That's one thing I never did. I tried to do it by myself.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And, I think that's something I get to tell him now. Don't do that because it doesn't help you. It only hurts you.
That for men, like we talk about, like I'm big on that, bro. Like defining things on your own, defining things for yourself is so empowering and it's so needed. Like, what does it mean to be a man? Like, we got to stop believing that lie that being a man means you isolate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We all need help. One of the biggest things that I continue to preach on this platform is that, like, being your best self and living your best life is a team sport. So when you isolate, it's no different than when you don't pass the ball to anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you gotta get off the ball, man. You gotta catch your breath. You gotta let somebody else make the play. You gotta let somebody else carry you.
Get you open.
And like we definitely have to do that, bro. Like that is so needed. But man, I'm just I'm extremely proud of you, bro. Like one of the things that I tell myself all the time, and I put that in your lap because, like, not a lot of people doing what you're doing care that much to where you talked about your stuff, you talked about your dad, but what moved you to tears is when you start talking about the people you're training. And what's sad about this corrupt world of youth competitive sport that we're in is that there's not a lot of people that care. Like caring about somebody's well-being is a distant 6th, 7th, or 8th on somebody's list. And with you, you're so pure-hearted that it's number one. And so, like, the thing that I tell myself is if not me, then who? Like, I look at your life, man. Like, you know, like, if not me, then who? Like, where would you be? And look at it. If I wasn't, you know, committed to doing it for the right reasons, would you be in a place to be able to pour into the next generation? So as you keep going, man, you got to keep going. If not you, then who? You feel me?
I like that.
Yeah,
that's
man.
real.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks for pulling up. Before you go, I think I have let me see if I got a marker. See if I got a marker. Do I not have a marker? Come on, Nick. I really don't have a marker. How we going to get you to sign the wall? Dang, well, I guess you're going to have to come back and sign the wall later, bro.
Yeah,
sign the wall later, bro. But, no, thanks for pulling up, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Very thankful for, honestly, I'm thankful for this platform, because I think this is, even just being here now, like the vibe and.
Real vibey.
Yeah, it's real vibey, and it's just, I think it's going to impact a lot of people, just not only through your story, but through stories like mine and, you know, other people you're going to have in here. And it's important that these, you know, this generation now, it's so important that they hear these stories, because they see it through a phone now. They don't get to see it through real life like we did, really. I didn't have a phone, so social media and all that stuff. So sure. I appreciate you, man, and this is, you know, I'm excited for your journey, but this journey too. So.
Yeah. Underdog, we up!
I don't think you ever really guarded me, though.
What you mean? I got footage.
Couple times. I
got footage.
I wonder if he know that I know he's lying right now. Oh, you got the new Margellas? That's what's up. That's what's up. I see you. That's your BMW? That's nice. That's your girl? Golly. Okay, I see you. But I just want to know one thing. You ready? Why you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop you lying. Always lying to me. You lying so much. You making it hard for me. Yeah. Every time you tell me something, I figure that you're lying. Ooh, it's almost like you faking. Oh yeah. Yeah, I know you're lying, but you sound excited, and you know that I know that you're lying. Oh girl, I'ma keep on lying to you.
Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated, yeah. Underrated.
Hey, Underdog fam, thank you so much for tapping in. Now, do me a favor, man. Subscribe, like, comment, share, do all the things. And until next time, keep fighting.